today I'm going to be cooking with you our chicken and pasta soup. Alright, so we're going to start off with prepping our vegetables. I'm going to start with our onions. So when I dice an onion is, first of all, I cut each of the ends off. In this instance, both of the ends off, go to the side, then I'm going to cut in half, and then we've got our flat side down. Beautiful. And then it's just a matter of trying to hold the onion together as we slice it one way, and then slice it the other way. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to crush our garlic. So got my garlic focus crusher, pop that through, and there's our garlic ready to go. So it's going to be cooked with the onion. The next part of our prep is to get our carrots and our celery sorted. And we just want to have slices, just slices of carrots, sort of like 5mm pieces. And then we're going to be chopping up our celery. So we kind of have these little sort of moon-shaped pieces of celery. Keep going. So probably about a tablespoon or so of the extra virgin olive oil in that pan. So what we want to do is we want to saute off the onions and garlic. So grab my onion, starting to sizzle now in the pan with the oil. So my onion is now sizzling away beautifully. Okay. So the next thing we're going to add is the rest of our vegetables together. So we've got our celery and our carrots. So that all goes in together, the celery and the carrot. We're going to give it a little bit of a head start. So we're going to add our stock. So chicken stock is what I've got here. And that goes. I'm going to really slow down that cooking process whilst we add that stock. I'm going to give it some time to heat up again. So the whole lot of the stock, 1 litre, chicken stock goes in. Now I've used a reduced salt chicken stock because it can be quite a salty product. And it's one of those things that we want to try and choose as much as possible, going for the reduced salt options. Because particularly when we're feeding children, they have very sensitive taste buds and they can taste a lot more than we can. So when we think something needs a bit more flavour, extra salt, children don't usually need that. And the more that we add salt to our dishes, the greater we're going to depend or desire more salty food. So it actually drives more craving and desire for salty food. If you are not using chicken, or if you have a vegetarian soup, so this is great without any meat in it as well, it's like a vegetable soup. You can add other vegetables to it. But you could also add towards the end some pieces of tofu and use a vegetable stock instead, which is actually quite delicious. Another option is you could put some lentils or some split peas, which will also add some protein. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to bring that stock, so the soup, up to a boil. And then we want to get it down to just a simmer. Get that simmer, just a very light bubble is what I'm looking for. And with our chicken, what's really good, you can put the whole chicken breast in at once. But what I'm going to do is, switch to my chopping board, is I'm going to cut that chicken breast in half. And that's going to help me or help this dish to cook a bit quicker. So if I just do, slice it in half, then you've got these 2 pieces of chicken, then it's going to be much, much quicker to cook. Because it does take a while to just put the big lump of chicken in. And then we're very carefully going to lower those 2 pieces of chicken into the soup. Okay. And you're going to see straight away that chicken's going to start to turn white. So it's cooking right before your eyes in that very hot soup. So this is sort of, we're poaching the chicken in the soup. So once we get it to that simmer, it should probably only take, depending on how big the pieces of chicken are, it should probably only take about 5–10 minutes to cook all the way through. Then you can pop the lid on to prevent all of that liquid escaping. You'll notice that the onion has really softened in that soup mixture. The carrots will start to soften as well. They'll still keep their vibrancy though. And the chicken has turned all white. So I've taken the chicken out, and then we're actually going to shred the chicken using forks. But I just want to cut that chicken in half to make sure that it's actually cooked through. Yep, it's cooked through. If it's still a little bit pink, it's not the end of the world because it's going to go back in the soup and continue cooking anyway. So with our chicken piece, and this is where having the chicken breast is actually really useful because it's sort of, it shreds quite easily once you get the fork into it. So what I'm doing is I'm holding with one fork and shredding with the other. It's important that it is reasonably well cooked through because it's going to be difficult to shred. Okay, so I've shredded up all my chicken beautifully, and now it's ready to go back into the saucepan. So lid off the saucepan. To probably use the tongs for that. Just pop that chicken back in, and that's going to heat that chicken through. If there are any pieces that we're not quite cooked through, they will now be cooked through in there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our pasta. So my soup is looking lovely. It's got the vegetables all cooked. It's got the chicken all shredded and cooking through. I've got to make sure I bring that heat back up before I add the pasta. It doesn't matter what sort of pasta you're using. You could use spaghetti and just break that up and put that in the pot so that you have the actual chicken noodle soup. You could use spiral pasta. Today I'm using the penne pasta. If you find alphabet pasta, even better. That just adds that fun element to the dish when you have children. You can even get little dinosaur pasta or little animal pasta. So, and that brings in that fun element to this dish for children to enjoy. And then I'm going to pour in my 1 cup of dried pasta. Now we want to get that pasta cooking. Keep the lid off at this point. And bring that to a simmer until that pasta is cooked all the way through. So I've got quite a nourishing pot going on here. I've got lots of vegetables. I've got my lovely lean chicken breast, and I've got my pasta. So it is a complete dish with that combination of vegetables, some lean protein, and the grain food or the carbohydrate in the form of pasta. This will also freeze, so we can put it in smaller containers into the freezer, and that's a quick, easy lunch for children during the week. And when we, exposing children to new foods or new dishes, allow them to really explore that dish, get them to try that dish in a way that they feel comfortable. So not pushing them or making them eat any particular components of the dish. And we do have some what we call bridging elements within this soup. So we've got the chicken usually is quite good, and the way that we've cut up the chicken or shredded the chicken makes it a really easy way for children to eat. So if there's children that are struggling with meat in particular or chewing, because the meat might be a bit chewy, this is a really easy way for them to accept and give that meat a go. The carrots are really soft in this soup. Same goes for the celery. If they don't like celery hard, try it soft in a soup. It takes on that flavour and it's much easier to eat. Again, it's my favourite way to have the celery too. So when it's cooked in a soup, it just provides a whole different experience with those vegetables. Different texture, different flavour, and it's mixed in with other foods as well. So it creates a really lovely experience. So I'm going to serve mine up. So you're going to grab your bowl, or you can get a little children's bowl, and then with our ladle, a little bit of everything in there, making sure we get a bit of soup as well. delicious. They